Hi, my name is Nicolás Mendioroz. I'm Director of Operations of Infraestructura at CAF. We are here at COP30, and it's a pleasure to be joined with AIIB Pandey, Vice President of Investment Solutions at Ajay Infraestructura Investment Bank, and with Eliana, Operation and Country Vice President at FONPLATA. Today we are going to talk about cross-border connectivity, how it can bring Asia and America Latina close together, help strengthen link with Latin America itself, and support decarbonization of logistic trade corridors. Even South Latin America and Caribbean have become more active in global trade. Trade with the region with him is still low. In 2022, only about 50% of the region exports stayed with the neighborhood country. To change this, the region needs to better process, a strong infrastructure, and closer economic connection. Please, with this in mind, we are excited to hear your thoughts on how better connectivity and climate-aligned infrastructure can help build a more sustainability and competitive future for our region. So let's begin, and I start with you, Ajay. And as AIIB increase the presence in Latin America, which initiative do you see as milestone through low carbon and climate resilient regional economy?
Thank you very much for having me here. And the AIIB was set up, established in 2016. Now we have 110 members as our shareholders. Out of that, about 60 countries are the regional members, and about 50 countries are non-regional members. The Latin America, Brazil and Chile, these are the countries which are very, very important members of our shareholders of AIIB. If you look at our involvement in the Latin America, take example of Brazil. We have more than 8 projects approved for Brazil, and then the total financing amount is $1.8 billion. Just 10 days back, on 30th of October, before this COP, our board approved the $1 billion climate policy-based loan to Brazil, and then in fact one project for Guaiaba municipality is coming up for approval on 19th of this month, and there is another project about another municipality is coming in the month of December. So we have a very good pipeline in Brazil and in Latin America. We have also funding not only to the sovereign government and the municipal council, but we are also funding to the private sector, like BTG, Pactual, and then the Patria. These are the private sector. We have made the investment. We are also have done the on lending through the BRD, the bank, and also the security, and we are also having discussion with BNDES. So we have a very, very close link with all these many stakeholders in Latin America. So why are we doing this? The reason is that our bank is focused on the sustainable infrastructure, and which includes the climate mitigation and adaptation. Both climate mitigation and adaptation, they are the global public good, and that is why we consider that we should be having more and more involvement and more financing in Latin America, and that is where we are having a very, very closer connection and relationship with Latin American countries. During during this COP30 event, I had a series of discussions with the government, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Planning, Ministry of Transport in Brazil, and also many of the private sector players, and also the banks. And we want to take this relationship further.
Thank you very much. And Eliana, in line with the Baku-Belém roadmap, what specific opportunity exists to stretch collaboration between FONPLATA, CAF, another multilateral bank in the region, and another extra-regional multilateral bank as AIIB to promote resilient and low-carbon infrastructure in the region?
Well, that's a very good question to have here at the COP30. And I think we are a very strategic partner because FONPLATA is composed of 5 member states, and are the 5 member states of Mercosur. So integration, it's at the core of the bank, and it's very important. And when we think about integration, we usually think about infrastructure and bridges and roads and stuff. But also connecting countries, integrating the countries, make them more resilient against, for example, extreme weather conditions, or when countries can connect with water resources, for example, the energy matrix. So I think it's very important that we are all together. The bridge, the gap for financing allows all of us to cooperate. We have a capillarity in countries like in Brazil, for example. We finance at the subnational level, and it's becoming a growing portfolio. So it's also very good to work with municipalities that are getting access to international financing for the first time. So we can also build capacity at the subnational level, and we can bring all the funds together. There are, for example, some initiatives like the Brasilia Consensus. It's a roadmap. So, and it's a very big, very ambitious plan. So there's a space for everyone to be in this region.
Thank you very much. And Ajay, considering AIIB ambition goals for cross-border competitive projects, what potential do you see for advising the decarbonization of logistic and trade corridors between Asia and Latin America, as well within the region? In our mandate of the AIIB, the regional connectivity is also very, very important component of our strategy. And we have invested in a large number of projects across our member countries on the airports, the ports, the logistics, the transport. In fact, the transport is our highest portfolio, both in terms of value as well as in the number of projects. So we have a very significant investment in transport. And so if you are talking about improving the logistics in the Latin America, and then the trade with the Asia, we can work on the multiple fronts. Whether it is a development of the ports, the logistics, and while we are developing ports, we can think of what we should be trying to do is that it should be a green port, right? Energy efficient port, right? The energy that it uses in the port, it should be using the green energy. Similarly, if you want to improve the connectivity, then maybe it's not only the port. Your internal connection and the logistics will have to be improved. After all, what is logistics? We'll have to construct the good roads, the good railways, all those means of transport within the land, within the land mass. So I think what we should have a very, very holistic view of how do we improve the logistics, the ports. It could be the airport, and also a lot of digitization can happen. Particularly if we are having a good logistics, you cannot have a very efficient logistics without a good digital infrastructure.
So that digital infrastructure will have to be established. And the AIIB had executed a similar projects in the member countries, and it has a experience of those efficient projects. So maybe we can provide a platform where the knowledge can be shared. That's number one. Second point that I was also trying to emphasize is that in the AIIB, one of our main goal is private capital mobilization, because we understand that the governments have a very limited fiscal constraint, limited fiscal space, and therefore they themselves may not be able to take loan or fund. Of course, we will deal with these governments also, but what we should be trying to do is that we should create an enabling environment. The government should come out with this policy so that we can have a more and more private sector player and private capital in this development of the logistics, the transport, the port, airport, and then the green energy. And how do we do that? So as I mentioned, that we can have the appropriate enabling policies which can attract private capital. We can also collaborate with the institutions like CAF, FONPLATA, the banks, and many concessional funds, and take their assistance, technical assistance, creation of the pipeline, and also the blended finance, the de-risking of the projects. So if you see, there is an entire stack. First stack, comes I would say that there are 4 players. Concessional funds, they can provide the blended finance, technical assistance, they can de-risk this project. Then we have local banks, and also the other financial institutions like CAF, FONPLATA, right? And then we should have a national government which can support good policy. And then the fourth is the multilateral development banks. If these 4 stakeholders, if they can collaborate with each other, and then we can get a lot of private capital, and then we were talking about Baku to Belém roadmap, and we have a goal of to get a 1.3 trillion US dollar per year in the infrastructure development. Right? I mean, if we can mobilize private capital the way that I have just now mentioned, it should be possible to do this, right? Because if you do a concessional funding, the multiplication factor, the amount of private capital that can come in, through the MDB and through all these concessional funds, many times into 1:10 ratio. So this is the kind of money that we can generate. So I think let us work in that direction, and I look forward to working very closely with all the 4 stakeholders.
Thank you very much, Ajay and Eliana. I think that we can all agree that we can do it together alone. We can close the financial gap of the region if we don't mobilize capital, private capital finance. So what are you doing in FONPLATA to improve mobilization, and what are a nice project or experience that you can talk to us about?
Yeah, okay, that's a very good question. Thank you. And connecting and elaborating a little bit on what you just said. We are financing the binational corridor. Have you heard about it? It's a route that goes across the continent in different places, and it connects the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. And FONPLATA is financing some trenches, but it goes all the way from Brazil, Argentina. There's a little trench in Paraguay, and it also affects the south of Bolivia. And in the case of the trench we're financing in Argentina, we have negotiated together with the province at the subnational level with the Inter-American Development Bank and the World Bank, for example. So we are getting some experience on how to go together to negotiate and coordinate in a region, so we can pool all the funds together, and so we can share the risk, we can share also the benefits. That's one thing, and the other thing is that we're offering a new line, a green line for projects that can show that have an impact, a positive impact on the environment. So the client can benefit from, you know, from lowered interest rates.
Thank you, Eliana. I think that one thing that we can all agree is that we have to work more together. We have to bring more private sector capital to the region. And I think that in subnational we can do a lot of things together.
Yes.
FONPLATA have a long history working with subnational municipality or state in Argentina, in Brazil, in Colombia. So this is for sure a place that we can start working together more. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice flight home.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
thank
nice
you.
to
Wish
meet
you all the
too.
best. And
Yeah.
we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.